everyone! This week was my 25th birthday, so I'm now a quarter century. It's kind of hard to believe. I hardly feel 20, but it's true. I'm 25, and I thought it would be really fun, in light of that, to do the top 25 lessons that I feel I've learned in the first 25 years of my life. I saw Jenna Marbles do something really similar to this recently with her 29th birthday, so I thought it'd be something a little fun to try for myself. So stick around to see what I thought the top 25 lessons that I've learned are.
An idea
can escape.
Ideas are bulletproof.
So Jenna's was kind of a bit more comedy, some life things, but some were more just kind of funny. I wanted to take a little bit more of a serious twist on it and really think about what I thought the top 25 things were that I did learn in the last 25 years. Feel free to mention which one you thought was best and you thought was the most important lesson. But starting off, the first lesson is that true friends will be blunt and tell you the truth all the time, even if it hurts. They will tell you that the dress is ugly. They will tell you that you have a booger in your nose. They will tell you that there's something wrong that you need to fix if they think so. They care about you, and they're going to tell you something if it's true, even if it's going to hurt you, because in the end, it hurts more to be lied to, and those who are good friends know that. The second one is communication is key to a good relationship, and this goes not just for romantic relationships, but friendships too. A lot of friendships break down because people start to build up issues that they can't discuss with each other. They think that someone thinks that, and then someone thinks this, and then they don't talk to each other, and they never actually know what's going on, and that's how things kind of fall apart. And I've really come to learn that being very blunt and straightforward with my friends, as well as my romantic partners, is key to a really good, healthy relationship. So, very, very important lesson for sure, because it applies to pretty much everything in life. The third one was something that I feel I've learned actually just in the last 5 years, which is that 9 out of 10 times when someone is hurting me, they're actually doing it out of ignorance, not malice. Almost anyone who hurts another person doesn't want to hurt that person. They just don't reflect on what they're doing, or they actually have no idea what they're doing, the impact that they're having, how they're actually causing harm to another person. They're really often wrapped up in what's going on in their life and thus not being considerate. And knowing this just changes the way you feel about a person hurting you. It kind of hurts less because there's less intention there. So a really good lesson that I feel I learned there. Number 4 is personal questions, and that is not too personal, but just saying to someone, you know, what's going on in your life and how are you doing? What's going on with school? What's going on with work? How are your kids? How is your family? Personal questions like that make people feel really good. It makes them feel cared about. It makes them feel like they matter to you or to someone in the world. And so personal questions that are not too personal are actually in good taste and a nice way to connect with people. Number 5 is helping others helps you. And in this sense, maybe this is just a biased opinion because my whole life structure is around helping people, but I've really come to find that there is a positive feedback and an endorphin rush that you can get from helping other people. Seeing them happy from something you've given them, help them do, or help them accomplish is just a really great feeling. It makes you feel good that you're doing positive things in life and having an impact on your community, which is an essential part of proper mental health, which of course would make a person feel good. So yeah, helping others helps you. I really do believe in that lesson quite a bit. Number 6 is asking for help when needed is always a good idea and actually essential to personal growth. If you're struggling with an issue, there's nothing wrong with admitting that you're struggling with it. We're all human, no one's perfect. We all have issues, and just reaching out for help whenever you need it in whatever situation you're in is really important in getting over whatever it is you're facing, because sometimes we can't do it on our own. We're only one person, and life is about communicating and working with other people. And so of course asking for help when you need it is really key, although of course the first step to that is recognizing that you need help. But more relevantly, once you know you need help, get it. And number 7 is you are always learning in life. School is not the end of learning. The best way to live life is, as Neil deGrasse Tyson always said, he tries to spend every day learning something new that he did not know the day before. And this in itself creates such a fulfilling life because there's always something new going on. You're receiving lots of stimulus and positive feedback because learning is fun. It's only in the structuring of the school system that it's that's ever been made to not be fun, because people are made to do it outside of contexts that they want to. And so, yes, school can suck and it can make learning crappy, but it is essential for life to always continue learning in all different areas. And so, learning is lifelong, and you should always seek it. Number 8 is that family doesn't have to be blood. They are just about people who respect and love you. This is a lesson I learned kind of painfully when I was younger, because I was separated from my family and really started seeking my friends to fulfill those emotional roles. And I've been lucky enough to find a few people that do care about me that much and do want to basically be family with me and love me and support me in that way. And with that, I have really come to find that family can be blood, of course, but it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be related to a person for them to be like family to you. And just because you have a blood relation with a person doesn't mean you have family obligations to them if they don't love and respect and support you. And that's just been central to my healing for mental health. So a really big lesson I'm glad I learned. Number 9 is sometimes the answer is as simple as turning it on and off. And this is something I learned from a programmer, which seems kind of funny, but the number of times I went to this person with my computer or my laptop or some kind of electronic and was just like, it's not working, things are falling apart, I'm mental breakdown, oh my God. And he's like, did you turn it off and then on? And I would sit there in frustration. What do you mean, did I turn it off and on? That's not gonna do anything. And then I do it, and then everything would be fine. Because sometimes just a simple reset is all that an electronic needs in order to get its grasp on what the heck was going wrong. And this goes for people too, actually. If you find your brain not thinking right, if you're really tired or hungry or what have you, sometimes stopping and resetting is the key. So that means, sometimes you just gotta go to bed and sleep for a while and reset your brain in order to start thinking straight about things. And it applies to a lot of stuff. So yeah, sometimes the answer is as simple as turning it off and then back on. Number 10 was something that I've kind of known but really been feeling lately, and that is that persistence really is key to success in life. And it's as simple as thinking about what persistence means. It means continually trying, constantly taking that little axe and beating at that massive tree. And the point of this idea is that if you just keep going, no matter how tiny that axe is, the tree's gonna fall over eventually because you just keep going and there's only so much tree. So if you're constantly going at it, it's coming down eventually. And so that just shows that anyone who's successful wasn't someone who just immediately found success, but that consistently and persistently kept up with something that they wanted until they got the results that they were wanting. Persistence is very much key, and a great lesson that I feel was helpful to learn, because it allowed me to remember to keep going even when I'm discouraged and even when I fail. Because if I really want something, I can get it. I just have to keep going, which is really hard in life. But anyways, number 11 is another one about friends, and I really believe this. That is that friends will not judge you for your weird. They probably won't judge you at all, because friends just don't judge, they're supportive. But above all, they just love you for your weird. The best type of friends want you to be as weird as humanly possible, because that's some of the funnest things about a person, is seeing how quirky they are and enjoying that about them. So yeah, the best type of friends, true friends, are the ones that don't make fun of you for being silly or weird. They absolutely love it when you act like that, because then you're just being yourself, and that's why they are your friend, of course, because they like you. So number 12 is your health is really all you have in life in terms of value. And I don't mean to discount friends and stuff, but I more mean you can have all the money in the world and you can try to spend all of it on the best healthcare and still die of cancer. It's all you have. And I've really felt it recently with my fibro getting worse and my mental health being a constant battle. If your health isn't in a good state, everything else is a mess, no matter what. So yes, take care of your body, realize that it is all you have to operate in the world, and if it's not running right, nothing else is gonna go right. Realizing this has definitely helped me in working on my mental health, and I think it's an important lesson in that sense. Number 13 is, it never hurts to just ask, and that is in regard to pretty much any question. The worst you can get is no. And I realized that that in itself can seem absolutely horrific in some situations. But on the other hand, think about it. Like, if you walk up to someone and say, "Hi, how are you?" and they just say, "No, thank you," and keep walking, kind of thing, like, you know, you're trying to introduce yourself. Embarrassing, don't get me wrong, but you did it, you were brave, you tried, and you found out that they weren't interested and it wasn't going to go anywhere. And now you can move on, never wondering, what if I had have said hi? Because you went ahead and did it. Or you never have to wonder, you know, what if I had have asked for this? Or what if I had have just seen if that was okay? It's so many things that if you just ask and the person says no, that's not that big of a deal. And you know, there's 50% of a chance they could say yes. And then you sit there amazed and so freaking happy that you asked. So yeah, I really do believe in that. And in that sense, I ask people a lot of questions and I ask people a lot of things because in the end, I feel the worst I can get is that they say they don't want to talk to me or no. So number 14 is relationships take work. And that is all relationships. And what I mean by this is that you have to maintain the connection. You have to be in communication with them. You can't just meet someone, make friends, and then not talk to them for years and years and expect the connection to be maintained. The only real way that anyone has a relationship is by coming in contact with another person and then continually coming in contact with them for some reason, whether it's casual for work or what have you. If you want any type of relationship, you have to put effort into it. You have to work on it. You have to make an effort to communicate with that person, and if you can, see them in your life, because the easiest way to connect with a person is in person. When you're a kid, your relationships were just kind of consequential. You were just around people and all the time they were near you for some reason. If it weren't for school, then family events or something, like someone was always around, and so it was easy to maintain. As you get to be an adult, everyone's so busy with their work and with their families that they're trying to develop and everything that they tend to forget about their friendships a lot more than they used to, and it kind of sucks. But, you know, a lot of people do also realize that in order for someone to know that you care, they have to show it. So in that sense, my good friends do stay connected with me, but it's a difficult thing, and it's a real thing that if you want to have a relationship with a person, you need to keep connected. You need to try and maintain that. So number 15 is, if you're going to own something or do something, learn about it, research about it. And this kind of comes down, I always think about cars when I think about this idea, because the number of people that I know that own a car and have owned a car for like a decade or more and know next to nothing about maintaining it just blows my mind. Like, some people don't even know how to properly change their oil, or like how to fix a tire if it busts on the highway. Like, simple things that you just need to know to own a car. And it applies to other things too. People jump into situations and they don't really know what's going on with the situation, which can lead to some awkward stuff, such as like traveling to countries and not researching what their etiquettes are. In Fiji, they really think it's a sign of disrespect to touch people's heads, whereas in other areas it means nothing. So you could casually just like see something on someone's hair, a bug maybe, and like swipe it away, and they'll get offended as heck. And you just don't know it because you didn't do the research. So yeah, if you're going to own something, if you're going to do something, learn about it, research about it. Always good to know. Number 16 is something that I learned actually kind of early on in my teens, and that is that makeup is not necessary in order to be pretty. When I first started wearing makeup, I really felt that it made me look better than I did without, and then I developed this mindset that I basically was ugly without it. I looked better with it, and thus I was ugly without it, and I was even seeking to find like waterproof makeup so that I could go swimming and still have it on and stuff like this. Very, very self-conscious. And I've just come to learn to appreciate what natural beauty I might have, and just a really good thing that I appreciate having learned, because it saved me a ton of money and time for that matter, is that makeup is not really the thing that makes me pretty. Who I am is what makes me pretty, and it does shine through people's faces who they are. And it's something I really appreciate having learned early on. Number 17 is taking care of myself is not selfish. This was a really hard thing for me to learn, and it was only in the last couple of years through therapy that I've learned it, because I've really had this mindset that caring about myself or my needs was a selfish idea, that it was self-centered and wrong. that if I was to be cared for, it was by other people or I was to go without almost, which seems so unreasonable, because something I really learned in therapy is you are the only one who really knows what your needs are. Like, no one else can know how intimately what you need but you. So of course it makes sense for you to take care of yourself. This doesn't mean, of course, ignoring other people and being inconsiderate of other people, but at the same time, it's important to take care of yourself and your needs and to focus on those and to know that you are the one who knows them best, and thus you need to take care of them. And I really appreciate having learned that in the last couple of years, because it's helped me make a lot of advances in my therapy, but I didn't know that when I was younger, and so it's a really important lesson, and I do appreciate that one for sure. Number 18 is, others rejecting or disliking me doesn't mean I have faults. It means that they likely have unresolved or unrecognized insecurities that are somehow becoming apparent through something that I'm doing, saying, or being. And so others treating me poorly is more about them and their issues than it is about me and anything wrong with me at all. And this is a really hard thing to realize when you have low self-esteem, which I have for most of my life. But having learned it in recent years has made a huge difference on how other people impact me, in that I'm just able to brush off negative people who are having personal issues way more and realize that it is their problem, and I can go on being happy and continuing to heal and grow and not worry about whatever it is that they're saying, because they're coming from a perspective that is very much based on themselves, not me. So again, another one that I really, really appreciate learning. Number 19 is something I only learned in the last couple of years as well through therapy, and it's pretty essential for a good relationship, and that is that romantic relationships do not make a happy life. They are part of a happy life. They are two people living healthily and happily by themselves, coming together and making a life together that is happy. They aren't one person being happy and then bringing the other person into their life and making them happy or anything like that. It is not healthy when one person depends on the other for their happiness. That's called codependence. And so yeah, I felt like this has been a really key thing in allowing me to eventually develop a healthy romantic relationship whenever I'm ready to do that again, because I have realized that I need to get myself healthy and happy, and once that happens, another person will come along who will also be healthy and happy, and that's when a romantic relationship will really be possible and be able to grow into hopefully a long-term relationship. So number 20 is, now that I think of it, probably one of the more important ones, and that is that if I want to see change in the world, I need to be it. I really need to act in the way that I want to see other people act, do the things that I want to see other people do, recycle, plant trees, volunteer, participate in the community for how much I can despite my anxiety, and work on my mental health and be the change I want to see in the world. Because that's the only way it's going to happen, is if everyone individually recognizes that the change needs to happen and then does it themselves, and then of course tries to share that message with other people. But the key is doing it in your own life and setting an example for others. And I really feel like this is an incredibly valuable lesson, because it's allowed me to change my life in really positive ways and show other people that those things are possible. Number 21 is something that I've actually only learned in the last year, because last Christmas was so goddamn stressful that I was just done with it, and that is that holidays are not worth my time if they are stressful. I love birthdays. They are my special day, or anyone's special day to do whatever they want, in my opinion. But any other holiday throughout the year, if it's stressing me out and it's trouble to get to or trouble to buy a gift, or in the example of Christmas, very much supporting corporations and consumerism, no thank you, not worth it. Life is about relaxing, about being happy. These holidays are supposed to be about spending time with your family and being happy. If all of those things don't make me happy, not worth it. Now, of course, I am all about still spending Christmas with my family, and if people want to spend holidays with me, that's cool, but not going to stress about it. not worth my energy, not worth my life, because stress is not healthy for me, and I really believe in avoiding it however I can. Holidays are supposed to be for happiness, so I'm going to make them happy for me, and if that means not participating in them, then that's me. So anyways, number 22 is love doesn't hurt, and I don't just mean physically. It doesn't hurt in any way. Now, I'm not saying that you won't have conflicts with people that you love. Of course, people have disagreements, but no one who truly loves you is going to insult you, is going to judge you, is going to say that you are a bad person. What they would say at the most is that you might be making bad decisions, but no person who actually demonstrates what love is going to intentionally hurt you. And that's another key word there, is intentional, because people accidentally hurt you. One of my previous ones, like the second or third one, was 9 out of 10 times people don't hurt you out of malice, they do it out of ignorance. So yes, of course, people who do love you are going to hurt you out of ignorance, but I'm more saying intentional hurt. So if anyone ever hits you, of course, that's not love. But also, if anyone ever emotionally abuses you or psychologically messes with you, that's not love. It doesn't matter if they're your blood family. It doesn't matter how long they've known you in your life. It doesn't matter what they've done for you in the past. If they're using that against you, for example, if they're manipulating you, if they're blackmailing you, not love. It hurts. Makes you feel bad. Not love. And that is such an important lesson that I feel I've learned, because it's allowed me to put unhealthy people out of my life and, again, grow more and make progress with my mental health. So really, really, really important lesson, I do believe. Number 23 is I am way more privileged than I ever really realized. This is something that kind of hit me in the last couple of years, and I've been pretty poor most of my life. I still am pretty darn poor. I mean, I'm able to support myself now. I have a place and I can feed myself, but that's about it, you know, not much beyond that. And in past videos, I've mentioned that I haven't even been able to feed myself. And when I was a kid, there was a lot of times I felt like there was next to no food in the fridge, and shoes were getting too small, but we couldn't afford to buy new ones. Clothes were getting too old, but we couldn't afford to buy new ones. I really did live without a lot of my life. But at the same time, I've been in Canada my whole life. I was born and raised here, and so I just go to the hospital when I'm sick. I don't know what it means to not be able to do that. I just go to the tap when I need water. I don't know what it means to not be able to do that. So many things that Canadians take advantage of. So many things that aren't available in other countries, that aren't a thing in other countries. And I've only really seen this in the last few years, doing some genuine reflection on just that there are a lot of people who grow up till 25 not being able to access fresh water, not being able to go to public school or go to a hospital. And I have suffered greatly in my poverty, but at the same time, these are privileges that I just didn't realize I had until I reflected on them a lot. And so I do think that's an important lesson, because even though I've always been a conscientious person, it's actually made me even more conscientious, because I'm aware that I'm lucky to have what little I do. So number 24 is, almost done, if we don't protect the land we walk on and the air we breathe, we won't have it in the end. And this isn't to say that our particular generation might face the destruction of humanity, but we do live in a finite world. There are only so many chemicals available on this planet. They're not continuing to grow, they continue to morph and change, but they are finite. There's cycles, they go through cycles, but they don't increase or decrease. So all this oil that we're using up, it's not gonna just replace itself. All these minerals that we continue to mine, they're not just gonna replace themselves. It's not like that. There's also a lot of destruction happening in different areas of the world, all for the basic motivation of profits, i.e. money now, like that paper shit that is basically just an exchange saying, here I have value, give me your value. In the end, it's all made up, just like debt. It's all made up. And when it's gone, back into the air from whence we made it, we won't be able to breathe the air if we're not being careful about what we're doing with it, about what we're putting into it, about the fact that there's a shit ton of people in the world and the population keeps growing. And I know it's growing less quickly, but the point is, it is growing. And so more people, more demands, more waste, more pollution. Gotta be conscientious. You're not just one person. This is very much a tragedy of the commons, big time. And if we don't recognize our own actions, drive less, stop idling our cars, travel less, even though I really want to travel, it's not always a good thing. Consume less. Our children, our grandchildren, someone within the human generation is going to suffer for it, and what I feel is particularly unfair is they didn't do anything to deserve it. They're not even born yet. Their parents might not even be born yet, or their parents' parents for all we know. But it's our actions that are creating it. It's unfair, it's beyond unfair. It's created by past generations, and I mean every generation kind of deals with this in the last 100 years or so of like, screw my parents for screwing me over and making all those bad decisions, but we always have an opportunity to change it. And that's why this is a really important lesson. The world is finite, and we need to recognize it that way. Stop throwing your garbage away and thinking it's gone. It's still there, it still exists. It's just going to a dump where you don't see it, but it's still there. In some cases of like waste, yes, it degrades and stuff, but it's the mass. We have so many people in the world. We need to be conscientious of the impacts that each and every one of us is having, and to be aware that we need to protect the plants, the earth, and the air. And finally, sorry it took so long, number 25 is that self-reflection is absolutely key for growth. And I don't know when I learned this. I think I've always self-reflected throughout my life, but of course it's gotten more and more intense as I've gotten older and gained more intelligence. It's probably number 1, so it's kind of funny that it's the last thing I'm naming. But regardless, self-reflection is probably the one main thing that has helped me grow, advance. It's helped me get out of the abusive situations I've been in throughout my life. It's helped me see where I've gone wrong, where my own brain has been all manipulated and been hurting other people because of the abuse I've been through. Self-reflection has allowed me to see where I've been part of consumerism, part of the corporate world, and supporting all these things that are destroying our planet. And it's what's allowed me to take some steps back from my life, reflect, not judge myself, just reflect on what I'm doing and make changes. Because one of the biggest things that's hard about a person making changes in their life is that once they reflect on what they're doing and they see that there's something wrong with it, guilt comes in and then judgment comes in. Oh, you awful person, look at all those awful things you did. How could you? You're so bad. No, 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 it can't be true. But if you get past that, if you don't judge yourself for the things you didn't know, and just recognize that you know them now, and move forward, self-reflect, can grow so much in life and get so much further, and in the end, be way happier because you know what's going on with you and why. And knowing why things are happening in your own brain and in your feelings is just so big to being okay with life, because not knowing why you're feeling a certain way is so disorienting, to say the least. So yeah, I definitely think that's probably number 1. But anyways, sorry if this ended up being a little bit of a long video. I hope you guys did enjoy though. Please feel free to comment below about whichever lesson you felt was the most significant. And as always, please join me again next week where I try again to share a little something I've learned in life.